Welcome back, everybody. This week we have Dennis on with us. Dennis, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tony. Very excited to be here.
Absolutely. Let's kick it off with the famous one word open. Give us one word right now that describes how you're feeling in this moment.
Pumped.
I love it. All right. With that said, take the next few minutes, Dennis. Tell us about your business, your background, how you got started in your business, who you typically help, and how you help them, and all that good stuff.
That sounds great. So I'm the CEO of a company called Postalytics, and we're a technology company, a software company that is automating the process of direct mail marketing, which kind of sounds like an oxymoron, direct mail and technology. But direct mail is a big, thriving industry here in the US and in North America. Over $40 billion a year is spent on direct mail, but technology has ignored it. And so what we're doing is we're bringing direct mail into the digital marketing era by providing software for marketers to build direct mail campaigns that connect to their CRM and marketing automation tools and measure everything that is happening in a direct mail campaign.
That's beautiful. Can you tell the audience and I when you had that aha moment, when you just said, hey, you know what? I'm definitely launching this company. Well, when was that? And what was that aha moment?
Well, you know what? It's a great question, because Postalytics is actually a pivot off of another piece of software. And so my partner and I built out a set of software in the direct mail space, but it was designed to be used by the print partners and the agencies and great big brands to help them measure the way that people go online to respond to direct mail campaigns. And, we built the software and we're selling it, and, it was going okay, not great. And what we realized is that the people that had been in the direct mail business for a very long time, they didn't really like technology. It really wasn't what they wanted. But we started having these people come to us and ask questions, say, hey, guys, we just invested in Salesforce. We just invested in, HubSpot or a big CRM. You guys seem to be living in the space between digital and direct mail. Can you help us connect our investment to a direct mail process? And we heard that a couple of times. It became pretty clear, you know what? There's a whole lot more marketers out there that are investing in these CRM and marketing automation tools that would probably like direct mail if it were easy and fast and connected. And so we kind of took that product we first built, put a fork in it, and came back out as Postalytics about 4 years ago.
That's really cool. Speaking of pivots, let's talk about the pandemic. You just mentioned how you pivoted from one software to another. When the pandemic hit, tell us, how you pivoted your business to survive and to continue to scale.
Sure. So there are a couple of elements to that, right? So there's the business side, the revenue side, the customer acquisition part of it. And then there's also the internal operations, right? Everybody was impacted by the fact that we can't go to the office. So, I think from an internal perspective, we had already made the decision to hire without regard to geography. And so we had started down that road. And so we were starting to prepare, and all of our systems are in the cloud, and we started to build out the capability to work remotely. And so, that part of it wasn't a huge transition for us. But on the customer side, when the pandemic first hit, our sales just plummeted and went through the floor, and it didn't look great. And so we immediately started, hoarding cash and being very protective. But within the next 3 or 4 months, what ended up happening is that we started actually picking up a new group of customers who were people that were involved in sending direct mail, kind of the old-fashioned way, but we're now working remotely and discovered that a cloud-based software tool can help them do it from anywhere. And so we were able to reposition Postalytics a little bit to go after people who were working remotely, but still wanted to do complex and and sophisticated direct mail marketing campaigns. And so that was a key discovery, kind of just figuring out, hey, this is a great solution for remote workers, just like a lot of other cloud software. And so that's really kind of how we ended up repositioning and then ended up thriving ultimately in the pandemic.
Awesome. Thanks for telling us about that. What about a recent win? Tell us a quick win that you just put on the board, so to speak, and within the last 90 days. And what was your takeaway?
Sure. So I guess the one that really sticks in my mind is a company that had reached out and had invested a tremendous amount of money in their marketing automation in email marketing. And so they have these workflows that will send out email to people in a variety of different scenarios, different customer segments, and different steps along the customer journey, from prospecting through evaluation to post-sale stuff. And the response rates of those emails had been fairly steadily dropping over the last several years. And so, what they wanted to do is try direct mail as a complement to their email marketing. And so, what they started to do is send out large oversized postcards to customers who hadn't opened 5 consecutive emails. And what they discovered was that in an existing win-back campaign, meaning trying to get customers back who hadn't purchased from them in over 6 months, that when they were able to retarget a direct mail piece or 3 or 4 direct mail pieces to try to get these folks to re-engage, that they got a lift over 75% of where they were from just their plain email marketing. And so it's really the learning of targeting people that are beginning to ignore your email with a different channel, right? And a physical piece they can kind of get that message in front of them again, can really end up paying off.
That's super interesting. Now, I have a quick follow-up question to that. Was that inbound inquiry that was on the email campaign, or was that an outbound cold email that these customers typically do, if you have that insight?
Yeah, so these were existing customers who had not ordered for a 6-month period. And then they fell into this workflow that was this win-back campaign, trying to get them to come back and start ordering again. And so that there's a warm relationship, but it had kind of gotten colder. And so this helped to wake it up.
That's really great. Yeah, a lot of people often overlook direct mail, and it's the original, when a lot of people and direct marketing, that's what put them on the map before the internet, right? A lot of businesses. And I think the biggest success that comes to mind for me was Michael Dell doing the catalog and the letters and stuff like that, because in the payment space that I'm in, he was one of the first largest enterprise companies to accept payments over the phone. Because a lot of times before, when you paid for something on a credit card in the early 90s, was always face-to-face. There was no really mail order, telephone order kind of a thing. And these catalogs started appearing, and they all took credit cards, of course, but the most successful one was Michael Dell selling computers through a catalog. So, that just kind of opened up my eyes back in the day with direct mail. When I was in school at the time, and we did a business case on it, which was interesting to see how marketing works, and direct mail is such a solid piece. Anyways, with that said, let's talk about a recent failure. So tell me, take 90 seconds, tell us a recent failure and what it was and how you pivoted or came out of it recently.
Sure. So, I think that I'll go back to that pivot for us to start Postalytics. I think that in retrospect, I wish that I had listened to my instincts a little bit earlier and maybe had pivoted about a year earlier than what I ended up doing, because we were able to sell this first software, and we were able to get customers up and running and be satisfied with it and happy with it. But it was way more work than what it should be. And so, when sales aren't pretty easy, you have really long sales cycles, and you when it's not apparent, like people just aren't getting this, then there's something fundamentally wrong with what you're doing. And I think that we all get kind of locked into trying the next thing and grinding away and working really hard to do a little bit better every day. And sometimes you just need to take a step back and realize, you know what, the best businesses are easy to get new customers with, right? Like it's not hard. And if you're doing things the right way, you should be able to easily get customers, easily get them up and running, easily make them happy. And that really wasn't the case before. And so I just wish that I had taken that time to really think hard about that and maybe pivot to Postalytics a year earlier.
That's really interesting as well. That I couldn't help not to think about it. A good friend of mine always talks about ELF business, ELF, easy, lucrative, and fun. He says if you don't have an ELF business, then you're in the wrong business. He likes to use a lot of acronyms. So when you're describing that, if it's not easy to get sales, if the business is not good, why do it, so to speak? That's really great. What about your thoughts on?
I'm going to remember that, the ELF business.
Yeah, that's really cool. Especially around Christmas, it comes out. Especially when you see, or you watch Elf over the Christmas holidays and stuff like that. With that said, tell us your point of view, Dennis, on thought leadership. What is your, if you could break it down to top 3 things that are directly correlated to someone being an awesome thought leader, what would 1, 2, and 3 look like?
Well, I would say that the first thing is to really narrow your focus. And this is a challenge in business in general, right? Like you start a business and you get pulled in a million directions, and you feel like you want to make everybody happy, you want to get every customer you could possibly get. But it's really hard to be a thought leader if you're trying to be all things to all people. And the way that now the world works, we're all connected, the internet is everywhere, right? You don't have to have this huge, wide perspective of the problem you're trying to solve. You can get really narrow and let the whole world know about it. And so, I think, the key to thought leadership first is narrowing that vision to be the best. Be very, very good at one thing first, and then grow from there. And by going through that process and getting really, really good at that one thing, you accumulate knowledge that people want, right? Like, there are inevitably lots of other people in the world that can benefit from somebody who's been super focused in this one really narrow thing. And so, from my perspective, when you narrow that focus, you build all your energy around getting great at one thing, then you can go out and share that with the world. And you can be blogging, you can be in social media, you can build out channels that can show your expertise, but you have to earn it, right? And you've got to build that expertise by being great at just one thing. You don't have to try to do everything in the world. Just nail one thing, and then people will want to learn about that.
That's super inspiring, Dennis.
Well, thank you.
That. Of course. Tell us what would be, as we're coming to a close here, what would be a typical challenge that a company is facing, which would make sense for them to check you guys out and to find out more information? Like, what is like the number one struggle, or like, hey, they're swimming in this thing called this, this struggle that they're dealing with. And what does that look like in order for them to reach out to you guys?
Yeah. So our ideal customer is a marketing team in a small to kind of mid-sized business that has invested a lot of money in email marketing, in digital marketing, and they're watching, their cost of customer acquisition going up because digital channels are getting more expensive every day, and they're seeing their email marketing rates of return dropping, and they're thinking, what can I do, right? What can I do? And so Postalytics can plug into all the infrastructure they've already built and give them a physical piece of marketing that can complement all the other things that they're doing. And so, you read the story of Michael Dell, absolutely brilliant. The guy was amazing, still is amazing. And he revolutionized the world with those catalogs, those computer catalogs. Nobody had them before. At that time, direct mail was the primary channel that a lot of companies had built around. Now, digital and email are primary, but direct mail can fill a great role in complementing those channels. And so Postalytics makes that fast and easy and integrated with all of the infrastructure that's already been built.
And a quick question, follow up from earlier. You said that you do oversized postcards. Is that the most effective direct mail, so the audience listening could kind of have that an additional takeaway?
Well, for many companies, it is. That oversized postcard is, like a billboard that you're sending into somebody's home, right? Saying, look at me, great, big, powerful image, big headline. It's something that is making a very strong brand impression. You got to hold it. No matter what you do, you're looking at that image. And so often that is the case. That being said, we always recommend testing. And when you're using automated tools like Postalytics, it makes it easy to do those testing. So you can test a letter versus an oversized postcard versus a small postcard, and you can see what is working best for different messages for your audience.
Awesome. Thanks for giving us those nuggets and strong takeaways for us. So here we are at the end. Go ahead and take this opportunity to give out your website address and social handles. That way, if people in the audience want to find out more information, they know how to find you guys.
Absolutely. The best way to find us is on the web, postalytics.com, Postalytics.com, postal and analytics put together, Postalytics. And then you can also hit us up on LinkedIn, Postalytics, at Postalytics on Twitter, and then on email. You can always hit us up, sales@Postalytics, Dennis@Postalytics. You want to talk to me? We're here to help, and we love talking and interacting with the market.
Awesome, Dennis. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show. And take it away and sign us off with a one-word close.
Thank you. One word.
Good stuff. Thank you so much, Dennis.
Awesome, Tony. Thank you.